with Kentucky. They were 1 for 6 in overtime from the free throw line. But before all of that happened, losing to St. Peter's, what went on with this basketball team? Because I never had a doubt watching that game that St. Peter's was going to go away no matter what Kentucky tried to do.
Oh, how many brackets were busted yesterday on the first damn day of the tournament? This always happens. And I felt horrible for my guy, John Calipari. It's just, that's what happens sometimes, man. Like, here's one of the things we always did at school. I got lucky to be the number 1 seed every single year I was in college. And we would always say the kind of energy you come out with in that first game will dictate how you play for the tournament. Now, that doesn't always happen, but you kind of set a tone. Mm-hmm. So when you come out and you put your foot on somebody's neck and they're down 20 in the first half, you're like, yeah, we are a number 1 seed or we are a top 5 seed. This is where you are. But if you allow a team to keep hanging around and keep fighting, a small team like St. Peter's, who has a guy in Darrell Banks III who dropped 27 on Kentucky, that gives them the confidence to stay in ball games. And that game to go to overtime, I mean, look, I give St. Peter's all the credit in the world, and it brings up a bigger conversation just about Kentucky basketball in general. I mean, this is the only 10th number 2 seeded team to lose to a 15 seed. It's the first exit. It's like only 10th time it's ever happened in the history of the tournament. So, I mean, just for that to happen is mind-boggling to me. But that's the tournament for you.
Yeah, it's interesting because St. Peter's certainly they were not, I don't want to say afraid or scared, but they felt that confidence rolling in. Whenever you get into the second half or even into a situation late in the game where you either ahead or you right there, like you said, Jay, on their heels clipping away, you have that confidence. You feel you are the big dogs no more. The Wildcats of Kentucky, they don't scare you. And that's where they got caught at. And Coach Cal bring up an interesting thing about Kentucky basketball for me, Jay. Yeah, it's a brand. Is Coach Cal a brand in his career right now? Because when you look at it and you say to yourself, where has Kentucky basketball been over the last several years? They've been in the tournament. They've been exiting very quickly. They haven't gone and exceeded what most people would think they would be at the end of the year, which is in that Final Four, which is in that championship, so to speak, game. The last time they won a championship was when? That was what, Carl Anthony Towns or something like that?
No, they missed it that year. That was the year they were going to be undefeated.
Right.
And they lost to Wisconsin.
Wisconsin in semifinals,
so,
yeah.
There you go.
Frank Kaminsky.
Yep.
So that was a while ago to think about that as well. Yeah. I mean, it's just, where is Kentucky basketball? And I'm sure the papers in Kentucky and the reporters in Kentucky are talking about that this morning.
Well, these are the things that, as a guy who used to be an analyst, Key, like, we would break down like, oh, who has this
Used to be, you still are an analyst.
No, but I'm talking about specifically only for college basketball, right? Because all these people for conferences will say, who's the most powerful conference? And this is by far the best conference. And all you've been hearing about, the SEC, the depth. And then you see something like this that happens in the first round, and it's able to mute that type of conversation. Even though I do think the SEC, depth-wise, they still have teams like Tennessee and things that are going to, go deep in the tournament. But in Auburn, but still, man, this is a knock to the SEC and to Kentucky basketball.
Because Kentucky is SEC basketball.
Yes, it is.
And John Calipari had to try to explain why Kentucky, as an SEC school, lost to a mid-major school, St. Peter's out of the MAC.
You have an 8-point lead with 3 minutes to go, you win the game. So I really don't need to know, well, this guy did that and that guy did this and missed this and turned. We had an 8-point lead with 3-some to go. I'm not taking away from St. Peter's. They deserve to win the game. They fought the entire time, but that's how I feel about it.
I'm going to trampoline off of something both of you guys said in terms of, by the way, it's Keyshawn, JWill, and Max on ESPN Radio and ESPN2 with Keyshawn Johnson, Williams and Freddie Coleman, and for Max Kellerman. When you have so many good players around the country that aren't afraid of other players, it's not like back in the day, long before Jay went for you played college basketball, even before you were born, Keyshawn Johnson, because I'm older than both of you guys. But when when you first saw Bill Walton as an opposing player, you'd only heard about him. When you actually saw him, you said, oh, my God, that guy is that good and that tall. There's so much ability to see players and different teams that the fear factor is completely gone. Even Shaheen Holloway of St. Peter said, I got guys who think they can play at Kentucky. I told them you can play at Western Kentucky, but not at Kentucky. That fear factor is no longer prevalent because so many players are at good programs with good coaches, and that fear factor, being afraid of the Kentuckys and the Dukes and people like that, that has gone completely by the wayside in modern college basketball.
Man, I mean, it's not like you're talking about this Kentucky team too, Key, being like a team of babies. I mean, they're more of a veteran team. So this is where we are in college basketball, and that's why it's so hard to prognosticate, all these different games. Just because if you have the best team does not always win the tournament. It's a team that gets hot at the right time. Like, that's how we won it my sophomore year. Like, I got crazy hot from the outside. Granted, we had the talent, all the talent in the world, but we were down 22 points to Maryland in the Final Four at half. Yep. 22 points. So, it's about which team has the poise, and things just need to go right. And what we saw last night for a Kentucky team that is more of a veteran team, they didn't put their foot on the gas when they're up 8 down those critical moments. Boom, St. Peter's comes back. They believe they can win those games because they've been in the ball game the whole time, pretty much.
Let's go Trojans. That's all I care about.
Y'all got a tough one against Miami. That's
Miami
not going to be easy.
We'll be okay, man. Don't worry about us.
Yeah, Jim Larranaga can coach a little bit. That will not be an easy game, no doubt about that.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.